Today we have with us Martha McNair, an agent in our Falls office, to talk with us about short sales. Hi, Martha. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Welcome, Martha. Let's start off by talking about you for a minute. So how long have you been in real estate? How long have you been helping buyers and sellers?
Well, I've been in real estate in North Carolina since 2005.
Wow.
And I was in Northern Virginia starting in 2002, but I was on the appraisal side.
Oh, I see. Okay. So what made you decide to stop appraising and come down here and start helping buyers and sellers?
Well, my background is finance, and so I've been in the world of credit for over 21 years. And the natural progression for helping someone with their credit is they usually want to make a big purchase, a large purchase, and home buying was the next step. So
wow. So you advise people on their credit situation?
Yes, I do.
That's awesome.
That's great. So, but you're here today to talk with us specifically about short sales. So for those listeners who aren't familiar with that term, what exactly is the definition of a short sale?
Well, I can give you the textbook definition of a short sale, and then I'll give you my version.
Okay.
A short sale is a sale of real estate in which the proceeds from the selling of the property will fall short of the balance of the debt secured by the liens, which is your lien holder, your mortgage company, against the property, and the property owner cannot afford to repay the lien's full amount. Then the lien holders agree to release their lien on the real estate and accept less than the amount owed on the debt. So any unpaid balance owed to the creditors is just known as a delinquency. In other words, you want to sell your house. You have a mortgage, but the market won't support paying that mortgage off. How do you get out from under the house? It's being called underwater.
So you owe more than you can ever get for the house.
Exactly.
And now you got a problem.
Yes.
Right.
Because you got to bring it. If you're going to sell that house, you got to make the bank whole somehow. Or
negotiate until they accept what you can get.
Cannot release the lien until everyone is satisfied in full. So now you have to petition the bank to forgive you of the delinquency. It's kind of like setting a car back on the car lot and doing what's called, I can't even think of the term, it's called for cars. But basically, they will sell the car, and the difference between what they sell it for and what you owe, you're responsible for. It's a judgment. And so the same thing with housing.
So I just heard all that. I'm a seller, and I'm scared to death. So you got a program to help me with that, correct?
I sure do. Now, I want to say on short sales, there's a lot of misnomers. There's nothing short about a short sale except for the bank getting shorted because it's a long process. So I want people to be prepared. It's a long process, but in the interim, we have programs at HPW that can help you navigate that difficult task of doing a short sale.
It's a long process, but it might be a lot shorter than waiting for the market to come back.
Exactly.
Okay.
And some people, I'm sure, are in positions where they can't wait. They find themselves in positions where they absolutely have to sell the home, regardless of what they owe.
People that have gone through a divorce, there's nowhere to go. We have people that have lost jobs. There's nowhere to go except to sell. Mm-hmm. And then we have people that get transferred. They maybe bought their house 2 years ago, and now they have to sell because of a job transfer, and the market doesn't support it.
Do you have any statistical information about short sales in our market?
Well, the big short sale boom started in 2008 when we had the foreclosure and short sales come along because of the mortgage crisis. And so I have information about Wake County specifically. Nationally, I would say probably 22% of all sales are short sales or distressed sales, short sales or foreclosure. Nationally. In Wake County, back in 2008, it started around 6.8%. That was right out of the bag. Mm-hmm. Most of them at the time were foreclosures because the term short sale wasn't that popular at the time. But when President Obama put into being the making home affordable, the banks were more lenient as far as granting short sales. So now we're about at 7.7 in the Wake County area as far as short sales are concerned. So we had an increase about 13% of short sales. So now short sales are more prevalent than foreclosures in our counties.
And have you seen that go down now that the market's starting to come back at all?
Yes, we actually have. I have a sheet here where I just pulled from, and I'm taking this from November of last year. November 2012, we had a total of 767 distressed listings. And as of April of this year, April 2013, we have 536. So we are seeing a decline.
Good. It's definitely going in the right direction. So is there a difference between I feel like there probably is a difference between a short sale and a foreclosure.
Yes, definitely is.
I imagine people sometimes get those mixed up. So tell us what's the difference.
It's sort of pre versus post. A short sale would be pre-foreclosure, which means that the seller still owns the property, but they're petitioning the bank to release them of that lien if they're able to market the property and obtain an offer. As opposed to an actual foreclosure, the bank now owns the property. The seller's not involved. It's already been sold on what, we would say the courthouse steps.
Okay.
And so that's the
kind
difference.
of the last resort if the short sale, for whatever reason, doesn't work.
Exactly.
So it's important not to wait around and wait for the foreclosure process to start, right? As soon as you know you've got to do something, when life happens, you've got to contact an agent to help you with that.
You really have to be proactive. The best options when you find that you're getting in trouble or you know that you're getting ready to lose a job or something, a great life event is happening, I would say the first step you want to do is contact your local HUD agency because there can be alternatives to even a short sale. There could be a loan modification. There could be what's called a mortgage protection program where they give you a bridge loan. If you have an FHA loan, you can maybe do a partial claim. So there are some steps that can be done prior to.
So there are other options.
There are other options to try to save your home. But if none of those work, if you're not approved for any of those, then the short sale would be an alternative to actual foreclosure because it's less damaging.
So let's say I'm listening to this and I've tried all those other things and now I've decided I'm going to go the short sale route. Tell me, what steps I need to take?
Well, your first step would be to contact a real estate agent because that's going to be vital. You can't do a short sale without a sale. So the house has to be on the market. So you want to contact a real estate agent who's an expert in the process because this is nothing to play with. There are lots of steps in a short sale, and if you don't get the steps correct, you can get a reject from the bank. Caldwell Banker actually has a program called Safe Assist, which I'm sure you've heard about before, but it's an attorney-aided program, and it's one of the most unique programs that we've seen, and it's very good because real estate agents are not supposed to practice law, and negotiating on a short sale is practicing law. So you want to get someone that has a program that can back you up.
So Caldwell Banker, Howard Perry & Walston has a program that allows you to connect with an attorney who will represent you during that process.
Yes,
okay.
They do.
Awesome. So let's describe the steps in the process for us. So if I'm thinking about this, describe this process so I have an understanding of what I'm going to get into with this short sale.
Okay. The process of applying for a short sale. First, you need to contact your lender and ask for the short sale department, and they will send you an application packet. And then in the meantime, you want to get started with the agent because not only will they be able to give you the seller net sheet, which is necessary to see how much of a short you have, but also will help you in the marketing of the homes to get it market ready. You'll also need a listing agreement in order to complete your short sale package. So that will be necessary to have an agent in the process. So pretty much everything else, as far as the sales side, as far as the marketing, is pretty status quo. Nothing is different on that.
But
it's just the paperwork that's
right?
happening in the background that needs to be handled up front. And you can't get frustrated during the process because they will ask for the same paperwork, the same bank statements, the same, financial information over and over again. But you just
got to keep the goal in mind. So it's a complicated process. We've got attorneys involved. We've got agents involved. And that sounds like it might take longer than an average sale. So a short sale process may actually take a little longer. Is that right?
Definitely will take longer. Again, short sale just means the bank is being shorted. It normally will take, and there's no way to tell you a specific amount for each lender. They're all different. On average, I would say they take about 120 days total from the time that you obtain an offer, not from marketing time,
Oh.
From the time that you obtain an offer, it takes about 3 months to receive that approval, and then another 30 days for the buyer to.
So it takes a patient seller and a patient buyer.
It does.
Okay.
So I'm sure people that find themselves in this situation wonder how it's going to affect their credit, and you've got a background in credit. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what kind of effect that would have?
It absolutely does, and people try to. There's so much bad information floating around that short sale is a very easy way out, but it's not. It definitely affects your credit, and it depends on if you've missed payments prior to filing for a short sale, because you don't have to miss payments in order to file for a short sale. It's all about your hardship letter and circumstances.
Okay.
But if you missed 6 payments, of course, that's hitting your credit report every month, so you are damaging your credit. And then you have, on top of that, the deficiency judgment that shows up as a collection item on your credit report when the process is finished. And you also can be issued a 1099 because they count that as income.
As income.
So you
but currently, do we have to worry about that? I thought that wasn't there a congressional?
There was a stay on that, but that's not to say that anytime that can change.
Right.
So you want to make sure.
So it's important if you're thinking about this to take action now.
You need to take action now, and you need to have that attorney to make sure that all of those caveats are written in the contract to say, I will not be responsible for the deficiency, and I will get a waiver for my 1099.
Okay, awesome.
Very good. So when someone goes through a short sale, how long, can they ever purchase another home?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. I don't want people to think that's the end all to be all. There's certainly, again, Coldwell Banker HPW has a great program. It's called like the Continuum of Care, which will help you on your way back. If you have done a short sale on a house that maybe you did not miss payments, you can buy in up to 18 months, which is not bad. Of course, you have to check with your local lender to see what programs they have. Right. But if you had maybe 6 or 7 months where you did not pay, you're looking on average about 2.5 to 3 years before you can purchase again.
But no matter what, it sounds like it's a better alternative than a foreclosure.
It definitely is, because we know foreclosures, it can be 6, 7, 8 years before you can buy again.
Well, you're obviously very experienced with this. So how many short sales have you done?
Oh, my. I used to be a former HUD loss mitigator counselor, so I was helping people from the beginning. And so even before I was in real estate, I was helping people get through the short sale process. So maybe at least over 100.
Wow.
Right now I have about 15 short sale listings and 12 are under contract. But they just take so long to close.
So now you still have another 120 days at least, right?
So if I'm out there and I find myself in the spot where I'm thinking about a short sale and I need to get more information, how should listeners contact you?
Well, they can contact me one of 3 ways. They can go through my website, which is www.marthamcnair.com. They could contact me at my office number, which is 919-582-2934, or they can email me at McNairM@hpw.com.
Spell your last name for us.
McNair, and then another M at hpw.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Martha. It was great having you on the show.
Thank you.
Martha, thank you. I'm sure that the listeners found this very informative.
Thank you.